I think it's what most employers and contractors are having to deal with is the kind of practical implications of some of the measures that are having to be implemented.
As you're probably aware, the pressure that COVID-19 has had on the economy has been pretty detrimental. I know Ahmed sort of touched upon a few of sort of the impacts that COVID-19 has been having on construction sites within the UAE region. But what practical advice can you offer to both employers and contractors while restrictions remain in place? I know they've sort of eased off fair enough here in the UAE, but what advice could you give?
I think it's fair to say that the virus is having a wide-reaching and wide-ranging impact on construction projects to quite an unprecedented level, and in a way that we perhaps hadn't quite anticipated when the outbreak first occurred. From my perspective, the implications have changed over the course of the 2 to 3 months since the virus first hit. Initially, particularly when the virus was having its biggest effect in China, I think the expectation was that it was going to have the most significant impact on the supply chain, as Ahmed has already mentioned. I think as the virus started to have more of an impact in the local region, I think there was a genuine concern in the market that would lead to a number of sites getting shut down, where the virus was detected amongst the workers on site, and that could have put projects in jeopardy. I think now what we're seeing is that while supply chain issues are having an impact, and that impact may yet become more extreme, and while there is still a threat that projects could get shut down, I think it's what most employers and contractors are having to deal with is the kind of practical implications of some of the measures that are having to be implemented, like Ahmed said, the taking of temperatures, the kind of procuring and use of additional equipment, and even being educated on working practices to work within the regulations. Now, all of this starts to eat into to a worker's day. Of more significance, though, I think is the impact that social distancing measures are having on the way contractors are operating on site. There's the simple fact that if you're having to give more space to workers during the course of the day, then it may not be easy to continue with the works in the same rate of progress you've been hoping to achieve. Obviously, if you need 20 labourers to meet progress and construct a floor of a construction of a building to meet the programme targets, but you're only able to get 10 workers onto each floor, that's going to impact on progress. Even if you are able to get enough workers onto the site to do your works, as Ahmed has said, the problems you have in getting labourers to site because of the restrictions that are being imposed on buses, and not only that, the restrictions you have getting workers to different parts of the site when they're on site, I think is going to be a big problem. Some simple things I've been talking to contractors about is working on high-rise developments where before the coronavirus hit, you were able to get 20, 30 workers into a lift to get them up to the level they need to work at. With social distancing measures in place, you can only get 2 or 3 workers into the lift, which of course is having a delay in getting start on a particular day. I think in terms of kind of practical advice, unfortunately, there's no easy solution to any of this really. In short, parties have to obviously comply with the regulations, and at the same time, they have to make sure they're doing what they can to make sure that progress isn't interrupted. Not only do the provisions that Ahmed has mentioned impose kind of steps on companies working through the coronavirus, there are also provisions within contracts to carry out certain measures within sites. For example, the FIDIC 99 contract at clause 6.7 requires contractors to make suitable arrangements for welfare and hygiene for their workers to prevent pandemics. So that also puts an extra burden, a contractual burden on contractors. In addition, UAE contractors working in the UAE have an obligation to act in good faith, which means making sure that, notwithstanding the fact they're having to institute all these measures, they're also having to make sure that they're keeping up with progress. So in summary, I think the message really is to do all you can to comply with the requirements, but also to kind of keep up progress. And as we'll kind of just come on to discuss later, when talking about claims and so on, I think that puts you in the best place to be able to minimise the risks and be able to recover any costs that you might be entitled to under your contract.